On a cold night in the village of Okuzu, a young girl named Ginica laid asleep in her dark room. "Share with your brother. Don't play with that. Oh, sorry, baby. Don't cry anymore." As Ginica made to bend down to carry the crying baby, she woke up from sleep and looked around for a few seconds. Only then did she realize that she had just had that same dream she usually had almost every night. She sat up on her bed and took a big wrapper close to her. She folded the wrapper into a supposed baby and started to rock it in her arms like a baby. Ginica was the only child of her parents, and ever since she was a child, she had always had a special love for babies. Whenever she went out with her mother and saw any baby, she would run quickly and go carry the baby. Surprisingly, if that child had been crying, once Ginica carries him, he would stop crying and start giggling towards her. Mothers were pleased with this, and they would gladly give their babies to Ginica whenever she came for them. Her mother, Nne, was surprised at this part of her daughter, and she felt sorry for not being able to give her a baby herself. When Ginica started having these dreams, she was confused and would ask her mother what it meant. But her mother only explained that it was because of her natural liking for babies that made her dreamt about them. Whatever you thought about the most during the day is most likely what you will dream about at night, Nne would tell Ginica, and so Ginica did not think much of it. She enjoyed it anyway and would look forward to when she would find herself babysitting several children in her dream. As a child, Ginica did not fancy playing with sand or other childish things with her mates. Whenever she went out to play with them, she would naturally act as the coordinator, coordinating her mates into being organized even as they played. This earned her the name Ma among them, which was a name that meant grandma. Ginica grew up into a beautiful young lady, and she still had her love for children. It was visible enough for others to see, and mothers would often tell their sons to hurry and marry Ginica because she would make a good mother to their children, and such women were usually a source of blessings and favors to their husbands. Many men were interested in Ginica, and they would come to meet her to propose marriage to her, but she turned them all down. Her excuse was that her spirit just didn't seem to accept this man, and she would wait for the one her spirit accepted. And then it came as a surprise to everyone when Tobenna, the orphaned boy, came to seek for her hand in marriage, and she accepted him. Tobenna was the only child of his parents and struggled to make ends meet after the death of his parents. Everyone in the village knew that things were really hard for Tobenna, and so it shocked them when Ginica refused a lot of rich suitors only to accept him. Nne had no option than to respect her daughter's choice, and she gave her support. Tobenna struggled to keep up with the bride price and the items on the list that Ginica's uncles gave to him. Ginica did not mind at all. Her spirit accepted Tobenna and was at rest with his. The first few months of their marriage was quite difficult as they barely had enough to survive on. Tobenna inherited a small farm, and that was what they cultivated on to feed. But in spite of the difficulty, Ginica never frustrated Tobenna. She was content with their life. Tobenna was a kind, patient, and humble man, and he understood her perfectly. One fateful night, Ginica and Tobenna were both deep asleep when Ginica suddenly started to have those regular dreams again. But this time around, it was different. In the dream, she found herself in a very big house, but surprisingly, she was alone. And then suddenly, she started to hear the voices of little children crying, but she could not see them. She traced their voices and went to one of the rooms in the house and saw the children crying, extending their hands and crying out for help. Ginica's heart broke, and she tried to reach out to them to comfort them, but shockingly, she could not go close to them. She tried all she could, but it was not possible. Slowly and slowly, the children's voices started to fade, and when Ginica blinked her eyes and opened them, she could not see any of the children again. She was seized with fear, and as she tried to shout to call them back, she shouted out in reality. Tobenna, who was sleeping next to her, heard her scream and tapped her. "Ginica, what is it? Why are you shouting in your sleep?" Ginica opened her eyes and tried to remember what had just happened. She narrated it to Tobenna. "This is the first time I will be having my regular dreams about children since we got married. But what I don't understand is why I could not touch them like before. This has never happened before." Tobenna was surprised too. She had told him about her recurring dreams, but it had never been like this. He was confused and did not know what to make of the dream, and so he just assured her, "Don't worry, I'm sure there is nothing to worry about." Ginica didn't think much of it, and so she let it go. Being an only child, Tobenna longed to have his own children as soon as possible, so as to have his own family. And Ginica was also on the same page with him, as she had always had the dream of having as many children as possible. However, 1 year had passed since they got married, but Ginica had still not been able to conceive. They were not really bothered about it and went about with their lives. But another year passed and still there was no sign of pregnancy. Ginica was the first to perceive a problem. "Tobenna, don't you find it weird that after 2 years we have not still been able to have a child? I think we need to seek for solution on time." Tobenna had also been thinking about it, and so he agreed with Ginica. They needed to seek for a solution. They both went to a fertility herbalist who gave them some herbs to take. Both the husband and wife needed to treat themselves in case the issue was from any one of them. They started to take it with the hope that it would surely be effective, but another year passed and still there was no results. By this time, the villagers could not help but wonder at what the issue could be. Some of the men who had earlier asked for Ginica's hands in marriage were already married with 1 or 2 children, and yet Ginica, the lover of children and the one whom children connected easily with, was still not able to have a child of her own. This was indeed strange, and some of these men were glad that she rejected their proposals. Ginica's mother could not pretend as if everything was okay anymore, and so she called Ginica to her house. "My daughter, I have tried to stay away from your marriage, but the way it is now, I can no longer pretend as if everything is okay. This is your 5th year of marriage now, and yet you have no child. I understand that your husband is not pressuring you, and that is why you seem to be relaxed about this problem. But you don't need to push your luck too far. Every man wants children, especially those ones that are the only sons. We need to look for a solution on time before Tobenna changes towards you." Ginica sat there listening to all her mother said, and she was really heartbroken. If anyone had told her that she of all people would be unable to have children, she would never have believed. So how do you explain the dreams she usually had since childhood, and how babies would find comfort in her little arms all the time? What did she do wrong? Why must this happen to her? As Ginica thought of this, hot tears dropped from her eyes. Nne then asked her, "What about those your dreams? Do you still have them?" Ginica answered with a sad expression on her face. "Ever since I got married, I have had those dreams only once, but it was not in the usual form where I would carry and care for them. In that dream, I could not even touch them." Nne was shocked. "This is strange. I have not paid particular attention to those dreams of yours, but with what you just said now, I can sense a problem. Your being unable to touch those children might be connected to your inability to have your own child. We need to go look for answers quickly." Nne took Ginica to a seer, and immediately the old woman saw Ginica. She exclaimed, "Why have you abandoned your children? I cannot see anyone with you. Go and look for them before it is too late." Ginica was surprised and told the woman that she had no children yet. But the old woman insisted, "That is not true. Your children are waiting for you. You must go and find them." Nne and Ginica left the old woman's place even more confused. All efforts to ask her for clarifications only led her to confusing them the more. But even though these words were confusing, Ginica kept them and pondered over them in her heart. That evening, she asked Tobenna, "What do you think about us adopting? Considering that this is 5 years since we got married, don't you think we should think outside the box?" Immediately Tobenna heard that, he spat out the water he was drinking in shock. "What did you just say? I will pretend I didn't hear you. It is enough that I'm not even blaming you for our childlessness. But what I will never tolerate is that nonsense you just spat out now. The only child I will accept and love is the one that comes from my loins." Tobenna spat out and walked out of Ginica. Ginica was really worried. She had thought about what the old woman said to her, and the only thing she could make out of that was for her to go adopt a child. Maybe she was not destined to have a child of her own, because she can remember clearly that in those dreams years ago, all the children she usually saw were not hers. Personally, Ginica did not mind adopting a child, but with the way Tobenna reacted to the issue just now, it's obvious it's not going to be easy. That night, when Ginica slept, she had an unusual dream. She was walking along a lonely path and she heard a newborn baby crying. Apparently, the baby had been abandoned in the bush by his mother. Ginica went closer to the baby and carried him. As soon as she carried the baby, she woke up. Ginica was shocked and happy at the same time. She was able to touch the child. That meant that there was hope. She would have a baby soon. But then, she remembered something, and her smile dropped. That baby was not mine. He doesn't belong to me. Was this a confirmation that truly I would have to mother other people's children? Ginica was confused, but she said a short prayer. "Please, give me a sign to this. Let my husband agree to this also." Days passed and weeks passed, and yet there was no sign for Ginica. Tobenna too would not agree to accept another child in his house. He even threatened Ginica that she would have to choose between him and whatever child she wanted to bring in. Then one day, Ginica had gone to the market and was returning home when she saw a baby abandoned by a corner, exactly the way she had seen it in her dream. She went close to look at the baby, and his cry pierced her heart. But then she remembered her husband's warnings, and she had to withdraw. She walked away, ignoring the cry of the baby that was piercing her heart. She walked away trying to harden her heart, but she couldn't just bear to ignore the innocent little one. As if controlled by a force, Ginica turned around and ran back to get the baby. As she carried him in her arms, something in her awakened. She rocked the baby against her bosom, and the baby stopped crying. It was magical, as if the baby could recognize his mother's embrace. Ginica went home with the baby, and fortunately for her, Tobenna was not at home. She put the baby to sleep and decided to rush off to go get some baby essentials. She came back 1 hour later, only to meet Tobenna standing in front of the house, waiting for her, with anger visibly written all over his face. Her heart started to beat fast as she approached him, holding the bag of baby essentials she had bought. "Ginica, so after everything I told you about not bringing another man's child into this house, you dare to disobey me. Where did you get that baby from?" Tobenna thundered. Ginica trembled as she answered him. "My husband, please calm down. I didn't mean to disobey you. I was just acting out of kindness. I saw the little baby crying by the bush path, and I was moved to pity to help. Please, my husband, the baby has no one and might not survive if I had not intervened." Tobenna looked at Ginica as if she was reciting Latin. "Are you true? If you want to be Mother Teresa, then it's certainly not in my house. I give you 30 minutes to take that child out of my house now, and I will pretend as if this never happened. But if you insist on keeping that child, then both of you will have to leave my house tonight. Don't dare me. Ginica had never seen Tobena like this before, and she knew that he was really serious and meant every word he just said. She was really confused and torn in between saving her marriage and saving that baby from the danger that laid outside. At that moment, the baby started to cry, and Ginica quickly ran inside to carry him. She sat on the bed carrying the baby in her arms, and she cried with him. She did not understand what she had done to deserve such a burden in her life. If only she could have her child, all this would not be happening. Immediately, a voice spoke in her head. So if you had your own child, you would have abandoned that baby at the bush, right? Don't you know that this baby and many more others are dependent on you? Remember when you used to give these children comforts and they acknowledged you? They are yours. They are your children. Ginica heard the voice loud and clear, and she knew that there was no going back. Immediately, she put the baby on her back, packed her belongings and left. She left and didn't look back. All the while, she kept telling herself, I will be a mother to you all. I will not abandon you. She got to her father's house that evening, and Nne, her mother, was shocked to see her carrying a baby and a big luggage. Ginica Nwa, what is it? Where are you coming from? And where are you going to? Who has that baby? Mother, please, one question at a time. I will answer everything. After she told her mother about the whole situation, Nne was short for words. My daughter, I don't know why this is happening to you, of all people, but I believe that there is a reason for everything. Very soon it will get clearer. But just know that I will support you in this. This child is yours, and you are his mother. So hold on to him. Ginica could not control the tears as they came flowing. She hugged her mother and thanked her. The next few days were quite emotional for Ginica. She would always think about her husband and felt like she made a mistake. Tobena had been very kind and understanding to her. But on a deeper thought, she knew that she did the right thing. Now that she had a son, she knew she had to work hard to cater for him. And so, she started a little business in the market. She would cook a small pot of jollof rice every day and take it to the markets early in the morning. And surprisingly, in less than 2 hours, she had sold everything off. What shocked her the most was the fact that people would buy and tell her to keep the change. This continued every day she went to sell her food, and soon she was able to rent a space and get more cooking utensils. She continued to attract favors as her customers would either leave their change with her or go on to gift Nwabife, her son, some money. Something shocking happened one day that changed the pace of her destiny forever. She had gone to the neighboring village to buy meat from her usual vendor, only to be stopped by a young girl. Judging from her look, she should be about 16 to 17 years old, and she was carrying a newborn baby. Mma, the young girl called Ginica. Ginica was shocked. No one had called her that in a very long time. Why did you call me that? How did you know that name? The young lady was surprised at her question. It's a way of showing respect to an elderly woman, the young lady answered. Ginica was shocked. Elderly woman, me, elderly woman. She thought and touched her face. The young girl continued, Ma, please, take this child from me. I can't hold on to her. I'm afraid I might kill her and kill myself soon. I believe she would be fine under your care. Please don't say no. Ginica was shocked at the young girl. But before she could say anything, the girl handed the baby over to her and zoomed off. Ginica was surprised. Everything happened within the flash of a second. She left her village without a baby, but she would be returning to it with a baby. Ginica brought back the baby, and when she explained to her mother, Nne understood perfectly. Ginika continued with her business, but much to her astonishment, people started to bring abandoned babies or orphaned children to her. When she asked them why they did that, they would tell her that she was the best and only person who could be a real mother to them. And that was how Ginika, the woman who had no child before, became a mother to many children. They were in different ages: infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. They would gather around her when she returned from her business, calling her mother. She never lacked the resources to cater for them because as the children increased in number, so her business grew. She would always receive unexpected favors from people and soon opened a bigger branch where she employed people to work for her. Looking back now, she had no regrets whatsoever. She felt fulfilled giving warmth and comfort to these children, even though she did not birth them. One morning, Ginika had woken up and attended to all her children, who were 12 in number at the time. She decided to go check at shops, but as she came out of the door, she froze out of shock as she saw Tobenna standing in front of the door. Ginika, please, I need to talk to you. I know you don't owe me your time, but please, it's important. Ginika was skeptical about him, but she gave him audience. They sat down and Tobenna pleaded, I am really sorry for the past. I did not understand what your vision was about then. I have been restless since you left, and anywhere I go to, I am always told that I need to reconcile with my wife because our destinies are intertwined. Please, I want you to come back home. I am sorry for pushing you out. Ginika found it unbelievable. Tobenna, I don't hold any grudge against you, and in fact, I still regard you as my husband. But the problem is that it is too late. I can't come back to your life with my many baggages. I have 12 children now, and I can't leave them alone. I'm all they have. Tobenna quickly said, I will accept them. I don't mind. They are mine too. Ginika was shocked. 12 children? Yes, Ginika, I want you all back. Ginika had to ask for some time to process the whole thing, and when she discussed it with her mother, Nne told her to look inward and seek for the right thing to do. If giving these children a father would make their lives more complete, then so be it. Remember, every child deserves a mother as well as a father too, Nne advised. After a deep consideration, Ginika decided to return to her husband's house with her children, and life there was nothing like it was before. There were many children now, and life had also changed financially as they had all they wanted, unlike before. The business Tobenna was doing before suddenly resurrected and started to flourish. He also found fulfillment in being a father to these children. Ginika and Tobenna enrolled the children who had come of school age in school, while looking after the rest at home. Such was the life of the couple who had once been childless. They no longer thought of having their own children and were grateful to be able to parent these children. And then one day, Ginika woke up feeling bloated and with serious waist pain. By this time, most of the children were already teenagers. She decided to go to the hospital and run some tests, but when the results came out, she found it incredible. How is that possible? I saw my period just last week, plus I'm over 40. Even though my age is not too late, how do you explain me seeing my period? The doctor explained to her. Some women usually experience this too. They continue to see their period even up to the middle of their pregnancy. So there is no need to worry. Just start taking a lot more care and don't skip your medications. Ginika still sat there shocked. Wow, pregnant? Is it that easy to get pregnant? When she told Tobenna about it, his eyeballs nearly popped out of their sockets. What? 4 months pregnant? How is that possible? Oh, this life is really unpredictable. This is good news. We have always been parents, even though we've never experienced pregnancy before. But I'm sure we'll figure it out. Our older children will be happy to know that they will soon have a baby. Ginica just sat there with a dreamy look in her eyes. Is this how it is? It's finally making sense. Everyone was excited for the coming baby, including Nne and the children. And months later, Ginica gave birth to a set of twin babies, boy and girl. The whole village felt the sound of their arrival. There was a big celebration in Tobena's house for days, and people had more than enough to eat and drink. Ginica barely even carried the twins because her older children would take turns in carrying them, and so she did not feel the stress of tending to newborns. Ginica's heart was full with joy. She had a very large family, loving children, and a supportive husband. Plus, she had several flourishing businesses. She had no single regrets about anything and was committed to giving all her children the best in life. She ensured that those who wanted to go to school went to the best schools, and she supported those who wanted to do business. They all grew up and would not let their parents rest. Every week, one of them would book them down to take them for a treat or for a weekend vacation. And then, one day, they sent a message to her that they had a big surprise for her. They had planned it with Tobena, and so he took her to the arranged place. Ginica was confused at first, but when she saw the surprise, she almost fainted out of shock. They had built her an orphanage in her name, Ginica Nwa Orphanage Home, meaning what is greater than a child. Ginica burst out crying as she hugged all her children and blessed them. She was grateful for the orphanage home they built because that meant that she could go on to have many more children as possible. She had been blessed and favored, and she felt privileged to be a mother to many. Thank you for watching the story. This story is a reminder that God always has something bigger and better for us than what we envisage. Most times, the process might not make sense, but as long as the results does make sense, that is all that matters.